Hi Pre-Algebra, this is Mrs. Freeman and this is lesson 6.4, volume of cylinders. So the last lesson in chapter 6, wrapping up these three-dimensional shapes. We've done surface area of rectangular prisms and cylinders. And then we did volume of a rectangular prism, so now we're going to do volume of a cylinder. Go ahead and pause here if you need more time, but you should have the top labeled, lesson 6.4, volume of cylinders. And we're going to look at the formula first. So we've got another formula today. Again, like I said, they're going to be given to you on the test and on your state test, so no worries about memorizing them. But the volume formulas are a little bit shorter than surface area because all volume is the inside. So if I wanted to pour water in the inside of this cylinder and fill it up. So all a cylinder is a circle stacked on top of itself a whole bunch of times. The same size circle being stacked on top of itself over and over and over and over gives me this three-dimensional cylinder shape. So we learned this yesterday. The volume of any shape is just the area of its base times how tall it is. So in this case, I've got the area of a circle, that's my base. And then I'm stacking that base on top of itself over and over and over and over and over, so I've got to multiply that by how tall it is. So the volume of a cylinder is the area of a circle, which is pi r squared, times how tall it is, h. So here's your formula, jot that down. Pi r squared times h. Again, quite a bit shorter than the surface area formula. And we're going to go ahead and do one of these examples. So I'm going to rewrite my formula, pi r squared h. And I need to label these things. I've got 3, that's my radius r, and 6 is how tall this is, h. So all I got to do is put those things where they go in this formula. I am going to, again, use the pi button on my calculator, so I'm not going to use 3.14 for pi. And when I do that, I've got pi times r, which is 3 squared, times h, which is 6. I'm going to type that into my calculator. So pi button times 3 squared times 6. And that gives me 54 pi. Okay, that is the correct answer, but it's going to depend on how they're asking you for it. So I believe today Delta Math is going to have you turn it into a decimal and round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to push that double arrows button to turn this into a decimal. And it is 169.64, so just 0.6. Okay, and then volume is measured in units cubed. All right, let's find the volume of a cylinder with a radius of 6 and a height of 3. And I'm going to use my pi button. So here's my formula, pi r squared h. I'm going to rewrite that, but instead of r, I'm going to use 6. And instead of h, I'm going to use 3 because that's what the problem told me. And then my calculator is going to do the rest for me. So pi button times 6 squared times 3. And that is 108 pi. Or, if I turn that into a decimal, it is 339.29, so 0.3 cubic feet. Okay, let's try this one. It says find the height of a cylinder. We're going to use our pi button. So this time they're giving me volume, and they're wanting me to find h. So they're wanting me to find this, but they're giving me v. So I can plug in 314 for v. Okay, also they are not giving me r, because notice they're giving me what's called the diameter, because this 10 line goes all the way across. The radius just goes halfway across. So I just want half of this. So if the diameter is 10, then the radius, which is just half of that, is going to be 5. So I'm going to plug in 5 for r. So pi times 5 squared times h. Okay, if I go ahead and multiply that out, 5 squared is 25, so I've got 25 pi times h. So I'm going to type in 314, and then to get h by itself, I'm going to do the opposite of what's happening, and these are being multiplied, so I'm going to divide both sides. And that is going to give me about 39.5 inches. Okay, but the biggest takeaway from this question that I want you to understand is they're going to give you the diameter sometimes today. And so you've got to know that the radius is just half of that. If I would have used 10 here, I would have got the completely wrong answer. So you do need to make sure that you are doing the correct thing there and just using half, just the radius. All right, so that's it for today.